Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. I'm your host, Bernadette, and joining me today is Matt Melvin. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
You're welcome. So, Matt, where about are you and what is your story?
I am in Vermont. I wrote a book called Bullied Behind Bars: A Gay Christian Trump Supporter Goes to Prison.
Hmm.
And it chronicles my story through the criminal justice system, growing up, being autistic. And then my family, at the age of 7, I was transplanted up into Vermont. And it was the worst decision my parents could have ever made.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Tell me more about that.
Well, I have autism and I'm on the Asperger's spectrum, and it's just been very difficult for me to make friends, maintain those friendships,
Mhm.
and find people like-minded as I am.
Yeah, yeah, it can definitely be hard. When did you get diagnosed with autism and what were some of the symptoms that you noticed?
I was 20 years old when I was diagnosed. Some of the symptoms I noticed was I was bullied constantly throughout all of my childhood and then into elementary, high school, and just being having trouble making friends, maintaining those friends, fitting
Mhm.
in.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. Those are definitely hard. I find that society they often question or hurt other people that they don't understand. Would you say that there's enough support for autistic kids in schools based on what you
Absolutely
went
not.
through? Mm,
Absolutely not. There is nowhere near enough support. I don't think it's really understood, both in the schools, the criminal justice system, the
hmm.
Department of Corrections. It's not understood at all. Police departments, it's not understood. And
Mm,
so people that have diagnoses really have a hard time acclimating into society and in employment as well. For
mm,
me, being autistic, it's very hard for me to maintain a job, to find an employer that's understanding, patient, because we live in a very competitive job market.
yeah.
And it's hard for an autistic person to be able to adapt to the high level of demands that are put upon anyone.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. Yeah. I wish it wasn't that way, but unfortunately, those of us um who are gifted, I would call it, because it is a gift in so many ways to be autistic. And I have diagnosis myself, not with autism, but mental health diagnosis. So I can relate to some aspect to what you've been through and continue to go through. If you were able to have the power to make to pass laws for autistic people or people in general that needs the help. What are some things that it would change?
I think mandatory training,
Hmm.
both for schools, for our judicial system, lawyers, judges, police officers, Department of Corrections, as well as employers.
Mm, yeah.
But I honestly don't think it'll ever happen.
Mm,
Um,
yeah. 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 I hope it does at some point because we need the extra support and help. Yeah. Tell me more of your journey of going to prison. What happened and what was the outcome of it all?
in 2004, I worked at a car dealership. They didn't pay me my commissions. So I impulsively decided to try to sell one of their cars. Impulsivity is a shadow of being autistic. And so that shadow never goes away.
Hmm.
I got caught. Instead of Judge Jeffrey Crawford and Bob Wolford allowing me to go through the mental health court, I went through the regular court system and came out with a criminal record. If I was allowed to go through the mental health court, I may not have a record today. I got out, couldn't find a job, so I used other people's information to pass a background check. And
Hmm.
6 years later, through about 10 grand jury tries, the federal government spent about a $500,000 and finally got an indictment against me. And I went to federal prison for 18 months. I went to state prison for 18 months back in 2004.
Hmm.
I got out, and that's where I found God. I had a near death experience and really was able to, because have a better relationship with God. I was always a Christian, but I was a lukewarm Christian. I was doing activities that were contrary to the Bible and then going to church on Sunday and asking for forgiveness. And true Christianity is a relationship with Jesus 24/7, 365.
Mm. Yeah, 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 you're right. Thank you for sharing. Um, what does your faith mean to you? And thank you for sharing that, the lukewarm part, because I think I've been that as well. Many people have been that as well. The difference is they're not admitting that they have been that way. So thank you for being so brave to share that. But yeah, tell me more about your faith with God and how has that changed your life?
I had a near death experience
Mm-hmm,
in August 2015, driving on 495 in the middle lane, going 72 miles an hour, which is a lot slower than I normally like to drive. When a Lexus SUV came the other direction, came down an embankment and literally crossed in front of my car.
mm-hmm,
And it was through that experience that I decided that instead of having Jesus sit in the passenger seat, I needed Jesus to take control of my life and realign my life to fit his.
mm,
And since then, I've been on fire for Jesus.
I love that. So during your NDE, did you see anything? Did you notice anything? Because everyone experiences NDEs differently, the near-death experience.
I felt that there was an angel protecting me. There was a light that came out when
Mhm,
I had a near death experience. And it was a turning point for me. I could either continue the same thing repeatedly and expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. Or I
mhm,
could change my path. And that's what I decided I was going to do because what was how I was going about life, being dishonest, cheating, stealing, wasn't working. And I needed to start living a more honest life.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. So how do you get closer to God or Jesus?
Good question. I think several things. First, you need to be in the Word every day.
Yeah.
You need to start memorizing scripture. You need to pray.
Mhm,
You need to be thankful for everything that we have in life.
mhm,
You need to fellowship with fellow believers and surround yourself with other people that love Jesus as much as you do.
mm. Wow, that's beautiful.
Because if you surround yourself with non believers, then there's going to be doubts. You're going to question things.
Mhm.
And you need to question every decision people make. Well, is this what God would want me to do or not?
Yeah, 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 definitely. I agree. So are you attending a church now, or do you just worship at home?
No, I attend Into the Word Ministries. My
Okay.
pastor actually came into one of the correctional facilities I was at, and he did an amazing job, and I was quite impressed. So I go to a very, very small church. It's only about 10 people,
Mhm,
and it's all Bible study, and it's an advanced church. In other
mhm,
words, it's not, you have to be doing the work, you have to know the scripture in order to have an intelligent conversation. And
mm,
that's what we need to do is to do the work.
yeah, yeah, I agree. And the work is not always easy to do.
No, no. Currently, I'm doing a deep dive into First Chronicles.
Oh, how is that going?
Oh, I'm learning so much. It's really, really important.
I've heard about Chronicles. Tell me a bit more of what you're learning.
So the book of Chronicles was written most likely by Ezra,
Hmm.
and it was written as a handbook for the Israelites who had been captured by the Babylonians. And
Hmm.
when they went back, they didn't know Ezra wanted them to know all about their genealogy.
Hmm.
And so we look at it like it seems like a foreign language, but to these people, it's where they came from, who their
Mm.
ancestors are, how they got to where they are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for me, it would be like knowing my genealogy, which I want to know, where did I come from? All of us want to know where we came from. So I
Mm.
think it's just it's a historical record to show the customs, what went on there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's really cool. That's awesome. Um, I've also started to dive a bit deeper into the Bible because I grew up around it, right? Or I grew up around different religion, but over time I know this is what I need to do and choose, which is just my faith in Christianity. The Bible is so complex.
It is. It is
Yeah.
very, very complex. It is the human brain is incapable of understanding everything that's going on because the Bible, unlike every other book that's written,
Hmm.
is both past, present, and future.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely impossible for the human mind to understand everything that's
Yeah.
going on
Oh
because
yeah.
there's a lot of things that are going on that we may not understand.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah. And that's what made it for me so difficult to get into it. But I'm pushing myself through the unknown. Even though I don't understand, I can still learn.
Right.
It
And
is so
we've learned
complex.
through the book of Chronicles
Mhm.
that Reuben, the tribe of Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh, half the tribe of Manasseh, they decided that they were going to live on the western side of the Jordan River. And
Mm.
as a result of making that bad decision, they were easier to get influenced by the other pagan nations.
Mhm.
The Jerusalem, the capital, and the place of worship was not as close. So when we decide to separate ourselves from other believers, that's when we could get influenced.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And so
Yeah.
they brought the pagan cultures of the other nations
Mhm.
into the rest of the nations. And
Yeah.
they were also easier to get invaded because they were closer.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I find that religion it just impacts people differently. And I guess since the beginning of time, we have been fighting of who believes this and who believes that. This person is right, this person is wrong. Is that something you encountered when you were in prison?
I encountered many people that thought that they knew the Bible, but they really had absolutely no idea. And
Yeah.
it's very easy to make generalizations
Yeah.
or to try to put 20th century thought into a book that was written 6,000 years ago.
Mm. Yeah, 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 definitely. Sorry, I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm back. Sorry, what were you sharing prior to that?
I'm oh it, so what I was saying was that we have to be careful about using 20th century thought to a book that was written 6,000 years ago.
Yeah, you're
So we
right.
have
Yeah.
to put our understanding on the shelf. And it's
Mm.
very, very hard to do. In order to understand the Bible, we have to understand the content, context, and when it was written, who it was written, what was going on at the time. And that takes a lot of studying and
Hmm.
listening to some of the best
Hmm.
folks like Charles Spurgeon, for example, that really had a clear understanding and it was a expert when comes to biblical history.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. If you were to be sitting with Jesus and God, which all of us are at all times, but if you were to be, what would you say to them?
Say that again.
If you were to see Jesus or God right now, what would you say to them?
Thank you for giving your son to me, and he took away my sins. Thank you very much for making it possible for me to be in heaven.
Mm,
Because without his sacrifice, I wouldn't be able to be here.
mm, I love that. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I'm on Instagram, Bully Behind Bars, X,
Mhm.
Bars Bullied, Facebook, Matthew.Melvin.5621. My book is on Amazon, Bullied Behind Bars, a gay Christian Trump supporter goes to prison. And if you'd like to email me, my email address is bullybehindbars@gmail.com.
Awesome. Can you walk me through your book? I'd love to hear the process before you were writing it or as you were writing it. What's inside your book?
My book starts off with my childhood, how I grew up, my experience with the car dealership, my experience dealing with uh, autism, my experience in the federal system, finding God, and then coming out a better person.
Wow, that's really cool. That's really, really cool. Um, you mentioned that a gay Trump supporter. Tell me a bit more about that.
Well, I mean, I put my life out there. That's who I am. And there may be people that have judgment about that, but I don't care what other people think of me. That's none of my business.
Mm, yeah, yeah. I love that. I feel the same way. Because when we care what people think, we're not really living for ourselves. We're living in people's shadows and expectation of us.
Right. And we'll
Yeah.
always be disappointed with other people's expectations or what they think of us.
Yeah, yeah. So when you were in prison, I know most prisons, from what I've heard, have chapels and different ways of connecting to spirituality. Did they have that there for you? Did you get a bit closer to God while you were there?
Some had chapels, most of them did not. They
Oh,
had
okay.
meeting rooms with where volunteers would come in from different churches, and then they also had cults like Jehovah's Witness and Scientology and Christian Science that would come in. And it really, I went to all of them. I wasn't as knowledgeable about the cults as I am today, but it's important for us as believers to know what somebody's where they're coming from, what the culture is, to be able
Mm,
to educate them. Because if I don't know what Jehovah's Witness does, then how can I help
mm.
an individual get out of that cult?
Yeah, 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 you're right. You know, that's one religion that my family, I grew up around. Jehovah Witness, which at many times they tried to get me to be part of it. It never felt right. Then I grew up around voodoo. It never felt right. It wasn't mine. I was baptized and then Christianity. I mean, how do you choose from all that? It just feels right to choose Christianity as of recently.
I've been surrounded by all sorts of demonic
Mm,
witchcraft, um,
yeah.
so-called satanic religions, but I knew that Christianity was where I was drawn to, and it
Hmm.
was the most honest, and it had the backing to back up everything. Everything in the Bible is accurate. It can be backed up with theology, with
Hmm.
archaeology,
Hmm.
everything. There is nothing in the Bible that can't be disproved.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So Matt, what do you do on your pastimes? What do you do for fun? Do you do arts? What is it do you do?
I like reading my Bible. I like ocean swimming, swimming in the pool,
Mhm.
getting out, enjoying the sunshine. When I was in prison, I didn't get to enjoy sunshine and
Mm.
home cooked meals. We had hot dogs and beans. That was the staple lunch 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Matt. I have two questions for you. The first one is, what is the meaning of life for you?
the meaning of life is living an authentic lifestyle and doing what you are set out to do and not allowing barriers or excuses to get in your way.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Where about are you? You mentioned that you're on Instagram. Let's say people watching this, they want to buy your book or talk to you or have you on their shows. How can they do that?
Email me, bulliedbehindbars@gmail.com, Instagram, bullied behind bars, Facebook, Matthew.Melvin.5621, and my
Mhm.
book is available on Amazon.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thank you so much for sharing today. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.